John Atkinson, you've been leading the standardized methodology indeed that we've put out for the dialogues that were conducted all around the world to prepare the Food Systems Summit. Can you start unpacking a little bit the methodology that you can find on the website that TUI has put in the chat, and explain a bit the approach? John, please.
Thank you, Florence, and thank you, Ambassador Cousin. Yes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the standard methodology, but I'd like you to hold one thing in your mind as we go, and that is you can be flexible with it. The standardized methodology is there to help you if you're thinking, how might I do this? What is it that I'm going to do? What could it look like? But there's lots of experience of running dialogues. And if you want to amend that, to shape that, to pick the best bits out of that, you should feel comfortable to make the most of it. So what does a dialogue look like? It generally has about 3 phases. There's a first plenary where everybody comes together. Everybody's in one room, whether it's physically in a room or on a big Zoom room, and everybody gets to understand what the conversation's about. There's perhaps some opening remarks that frame why you're there, what it is you're trying to do, how we've got to be here, and who perhaps we all are. It's a welcoming opening. It's a way of bringing everybody in and making everybody feel that they've got a part to contribute. And often that will take 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. What we don't tend to do at this point is to do lots of presentations. People come to a dialogue to exchange, to offer their point of view, to bring their knowledge and their wisdom. So we want to keep that opening piece as framing and not a big show and tell. Then we get into the heart of the dialogue. This will be about 30 to 50 minutes. And these are discussion groups, small groups of people, perhaps 8 to 10 people, facilitated by a facilitator who have a discussion topic that they're addressing. And because the groups are small, people can really share what they feel about what's going on. And we can see where difference emerges, what we have in common and what we have to move towards. And then we need to bring it all back together into a closing plenary. The discussion groups report back to the plenary, and it's drawn together into a conversation that says, well, what does all this mean? Where are we going? What's that told us? We think to make that work well, there are 3 roles that need to be filled: the convener, the curator, and the facilitators. Think of the convener as the person who invites you into the whole process, as the ambassador has done today with us. She's invited us here. She's explained what it's all about. Think of the curator as the person who holds the conversation in the room, as Florence is today, just helping us through it, making us feel glad to be here, managing who speaks when, making sure the whole thing works. And then the facilitators are the people who work with the individual discussion groups. Again, you can be a bit flexible. If it's a bit small, if you're a small team trying to do it, you may find that somebody has the role of both convener and curator, but they require different things. Make sure it's somebody who can do both elements. In order for the dialogue to fulfill the ambition, it's important to think big. Think bold. Start with a statement that looks 10 years forward for each of the discussion groups. Make sure it's more than a question that people can immediately start saying, how do we get there? Make sure people get the opportunity to think about what could be done and where we really want to be before moving back into, and how do we get there from here? So getting those questions right and those statements right really, really matters. Spend time when you're designing your dialogue to say, is this something that I would really want to talk about? Does this have my energy? Does this get hold of me? Because if it doesn't get hold of you, it's less likely to inspire the people who come to participate. And the last thing I would say is, if you want to bring people to your dialogue, if you want them to feel, yes, this is a conversation I want to be part of, then it needs an inspiring title. Think, what are you going to call your dialogue in order that when people see it, they think, you know what, I should be in that conversation. I've got something to say in that, and I want to contribute. Those are just some thoughts, Florence, from the standardized methodology. I would really encourage people to look on the website and look at the reference manual that expands on all of these elements in a little more depth and gives you a chance to go into them and see what some of them might really look like. Thank you.